Most of us should know that retrospective analysis is so much easier than projecting forward because the crystal ball just seems to work so much better that way. But what we've tried to do is to take the horses that were successful in the KwaZulu-Natal winter season and the spring season here in Gauteng and couple them with the horses that are really talented as far as the Cape is concerned. And Mark van Deventer is one of the most passionate and committed journalists in the Western Cape. He's a specialist in his field, and we caught up with him on the opening of the Durbanville racecourse to give us some idea as to who he thinks will win the Fillies Guineas, the Colts Guineas, the Majorca Stakes, the Lormorans Queen's Plate, and finally the Sun Met. Obviously, by the time that this broadcast goes out, the World Sports Betting Fillies Guineas and the Merchants and the Greenpoint Stakes will all have been run. First of all, who will win the Fillies Guineas? Let's see how good you are, Mr. van Deventer.
Well, Andrew, today I saw a really sparkling performance by Magical Wonderland. Now, of course, the debate is if she'll see out a mile. She showed tremendous acceleration. She was blocked badly on the inside rail, switched out, came through with a big finish, but she looks very talented.
Inside the final 300 now, along the inside, Too Fat to Fly, Rosing Bloom, Angel's Trumpet, Nana Anna and Magical Wonderland. She's coming home strongly in the centre, and Magical Wonderland mows them all down to remain unbeaten. Magical Wonderland goes on to win from Rosing Bloom, Too Fat to Fly, then came Princess Peach.
Our Mate Art and Gold Standard took their place in the World Sports Betting Greenpoint Stakes up against the heavy hitters. But what did Mark think about the performance of Our Mate Art and the projection of Gold Standard going forward to the Cape Sizzling summer season?
I think he's a 1400 metre specialist, which is an awkward type of distance. He sprinted fairly well. Then he was put over a bit further. No disgrace to get outgunned by African Night Sky, who's got to be one of the major contenders for feature race honours through the summer. I think the fast 1400 is ideal for him because he's able to stalk the pace and then quicken up. It was a good run, the Matcham Stakes, and Gold Standard, very highly rated, making a comeback after a lengthy layoff, hadn't run since that fine fourth in the Met. And thinking back to last season, that Selangor clash between Gold Standard and Edict of Nantes, I think was one of the most significant races, and it may yet prove to be of great importance for this coming season. Edict of Nantes, of course, very stiff in the Durban July when narrowly beat, and that one is nicely teed up for a promising season as well.
He really is high class, is Edict of Nantes.
He is. He's a tractable sort. You know, he's one pressing the pace. Remember that brilliant ride, Frankie Dettori in the Derby. He can loop them. He's got a turn of foot, good temperament. So he's a main contender. You know, the fascinating thing when you do a projection like this, Andrew, I mean, people often assume that horses are going to maintain a level of form, but I think it's only in about 25% of cases that horses actually repeat their last start effort in terms of the true rating.
Yes.
They're more likely going
to... It makes horses like Winks and Pocket Power so impossible to describe in terms of extraordinary.
When they get on those winning streaks, and regardless of the circumstances and the opposition, they just keep on winning. That's freakish, because what's more likely to happen is that a horse will regress after a big effort, and hopefully in some cases horses will improve. And particularly at this time of the year, you're looking for progressive young horses who are surging towards a career peak. Eyes wide open. Won that Greyville Grade 1 race at the end of the season, made his comeback today, stayed on encouragingly. Very impressive looker, absolutely. There are other lurkers, you know, it's hard to assess so early on. Big Bear caught my eye winning up in Joburg a few weeks ago. Huge upside potential. Old Folk, maybe a sprinter. But
good comeback run the other day against some heavy hitters.
Yeah, and you know, he didn't get spat out by them. He actually gutsed it out really well. So that was encouraging. Here in the Cape, you know, the sprinting types, Al Mariaki, you mentioned Bold Respect earlier. One that I've been following with interest is Casimir. Yeah, and the juvenile form lines are also strong, Andrew. So that's one to look out for. And amongst those with classic pretensions, Cot Campbell, Do It Again, from the Snaith yard, that may well be their best one. Tapper North has also got good potential because he ran close up to Our Mate Art, the subsequent Matcham winner in a race at Kenilworth. So those would be some that, as an early guide, certainly look to have way above average ability. Gold standard, I think, will go the typical route of the Greenpoint Stakes, Queen's Plate, and then the Met. Thereafter, it remains to be seen if he continues a racing career based on his breeding. He may have a bright future in the stallion barn. African Night Sky is intriguing. So he stayed here through the winter, and he performed consistently well. Most eye-catching is his ability to accelerate. He really can quicken up. He's a dexterous performer, very good turn of foot. So he's obviously going to be pitched in high during the season. Whether he's up to it or not remains to be seen, but he's good.
I know you've always been a very objective type of journalist and you cover all bases, but you are very close to the Crawford stable. And let's be honest, Sail South and Captain America are two horses that are going to be very, very seriously considering the Sun Met victory laurels and indeed the Lormorant's Queen's Plate.
Yeah, look, Brett Crawford had a sensational season. 6 Grade 1s, yeah. Fillies, Colts, over all sorts of distances. It was a tremendous performance by the team, very well planned, very well thought through. And yeah, I think it was a masterstroke to move Captain America up to Durban. In previous years, he'd raided the Highveld, done well there, and he's settled. You know, he's still full of zest. Remember, early on he used to pull, and he blew a couple of leads that way, but now he's a far more composed individual and formidable up to a mile, and very game. His class gets him through over further. Sail South, I think the key there is, you know, he used to languish off the pace and then come with a big late rally. But Richard Faries worked out a way where he can position him more handy and then get him to stalk and pounce. And a very well-deserved Grade 1 win at Greyville.
So obviously Captain America's got to be the most versatile of the whole lot, because although he hasn't won a Grade 1 in Cape Town, I think he's won the Greenpoint in scintillating fashion. He's won a Grade 1 in KwaZulu-Natal, a Grade 1 in Johannesburg, and probably wouldn't be a dry eye in the house if he managed to pull off the Sun Met, or for that matter the Lormorant's Queen's Plate.
Yeah. Brett actually said to me at one point, people don't realize how fast he's actually going, because he's spat out quite a few in the gallops. You know, he tends to break horses' hearts during workouts, but he's very, very good. And on the filly side from the Crawford yard, Lady of the House, Will Avington winner, a world-class ride by Striker Stradom. She's come on a lot. She's really thrived since returning to the Cape, and she could also be one to follow.
As far as the younger brigade are concerned, obviously you can break those down into sprinting types like Alphic and Al Mariachi, and then horses that'll probably go for classic distances, and maybe even horses that'll go for the Derby distance as 3-year-olds. So how does Mark see that unfolding this Cape Sizzling Summer?
You mentioned Dutch Philip. Very, very impressive through the winter here in the Cape. He never won by much. He just did what it took to get rid of the oppo, turn a foot, just blew them away using those tactics. So he also is very exciting. He made a comeback here in a sprint. He ran into traffic difficulties and perhaps left his rally a little bit too late as a result of it. But the final fraction was very, very swift. He may be a sprinter, out and out. That's debatable. but very, very smart.
Bella has been hooked to the downside, and Silver Mountain starts to lift. Good Time Girl and Safe Harbor also get going. They found across the track. Silver Mountain with a head in front. Down the inside at Safe Harbor. Bella up the outside. Any one of three. Safe Harbor with a head in front. Bella lunging up the outside. Very close. Maybe Bella on the line over Safe Harbor. Then came Silver Mountain in third.
As far as the girls are concerned, well, we all know that Bella has been retired to stud, and that leaves another Russia as a natural successor to her. She was absolutely scintillating on Sansui Summer Cup Day. And then, of course, there's Nightingale, who ran such a cracking race in the Vodacom Durban July and is a high-quality filly from the Mike Bass stable. And then, of course, there's the Wolverhampton Cup winner, Lady of the House from the Brett Crawford stable. So how does Mark see the girls unfolding this Cape Sizzling summer season?
Nightingale is a tremendous prospect. I mean, her run in the July was outstanding, and I suppose as a longer term prospect, you know, the Paddock Stakes perhaps, the Majorca, you can almost be sure that she will acquit herself well again at that grade.
The sprinters, Sean Terry dominated that category last year with Carrion Ellis and Bull Valley. But there are a couple of very useful sprinters around here who will obviously be looking to restore some sort of glory to the Cape Flying Championship.
Yeah, Trip to Heaven, that was a tough beat last year. Very, very slow out. Then,
Master of his own demise.
Yeah, down the inside, then had a switch and only got narrowly beaten by Carrion Ellis, who's obviously since retired. Based on last season's efforts, Bull Valley, Search Party would be live contenders for the sprints, but there's bound to be a lurker somewhere, a fast, progressive sort that may yet come to light during the spring season up in Joburg.
Nafa up the inside, still in front. Second place is the Thinker. Then comes Splendid Garden, Riverine, Graduation Day. The Thinker puts his best foot forward. He comes at Nafa. It's the Thinker over Nafa, and the Thinker's carrying too many guns. The Thinker beat Nafa. Amazing Strike ran third. Fourth is close. Talk to the